Hey everybody, this is Darren Sabedra again with Bay Area News Group, Mercury News East Bay Times, here with Evan Webeck, also with Mercury News East Bay Times, and Mike Lefkow. Mike, the historian of the group, the one who's been around for a long time. I'm not going to say how many years, Mike, but
go ahead.
You've been around long enough to know that De La Salle once lost more than one game every 30 years.
I remember when De La Salle was coached by a guy named Ed Hall, and every week you used to wonder if De La Salle would score an offensive touchdown.
Okay,
the only way they would win is
we've gone way beyond whether De La Salle can score one touchdown, but now it is obviously huge news when they lose to a team, especially a team locally, given that it hadn't happened in 30 years. I was there Friday night. Let's start with you, Evan. I mean, as the newcomer here, I mean, when you saw those tweets coming across, I mean, what were you thinking?
Look, I thought De La Salle's NorCal streak, north of Fresno streak, I suppose we should say, this season. But,
okay, I'm going to call timeout real quick. Someone who grew up in Bakersfield, Central Valley, very familiar with Fresno. Bakersfield's not Southern California. Fresno's not Northern California. Let's just get that straight. I mean, yeah, the Bakersfield people rooted for SoCal teams by and large, but we're not the Southland, and Fresno's not Northern California.
Regional streak, 318 games.
There we go.
Impressive either way. Longer than I have been alive. It had been alive, and it came to an end. I think we were all shocked. I mean, I saw the score come across at halftime, maybe a little bit late. You know, I was out at Pittsburgh covering their impressive win over Valley Christian, and you know, it drew my attention. I couldn't put my phone down. I kept scrolling for updates on Twitter, looking for updates, and you know, it sounded like it was a great impressive win for St. Francis that really showed their strength. You know, we knew that they were a big, strong team. You know, I think we all talked about last week, there was a chance that this could happen. But we all picked De La Salle. How could you not, based on, you know, what they had done the past 6 quarters going into that game? And it happened. And who knows? You know, they've got 3 more games in front of them that are going to be very challenging, right? Starting this week.
Lefty, when you saw that De La Salle scored with 1:38 left, I put the video up there. Did you think there's no way St. Francis is going to go downfield and win this game?
Yeah, no, when they went ahead 28-24, I figured De La Salle was going to win. It was going to be another one of those, we'd be talking about another close call. But that didn't change my mind that I felt somebody might beat De La Salle this year. I wasn't sure of it, but I thought it could happen. We think we talked about it before the season, so I wasn't prepared to say, oh, okay, you're good for 10-0 now.
Right. When they did score, I thought it was going to be a close call, but here's another De La Salle survives, streak continues on. But I've been to enough classic WCal games through the years that I've seen some wild stuff in the last minute of these games that you can't stop thinking about it the whole weekend. It's like, did that just happen? And that's kind of what happened on Friday night. I mean, they get the big run by Teo. They get the big pass that gets them to the 1, and you know, the guy made a great catch. Oh, it was unbelievable. I had it on video. Like, what a play! And then for the refs to throw a flag for excessive celebration. And if you look at the touchdown that De La Salle scored, and the ref is screaming at the De La Salle kids who are basically just like kind of like almost like high-fiving, you know, the jump, and the ref looks like, are you kidding? Why are you even doing this if that's the way you're going to act? I mean, like, get back, stop celebrating. You know, it's like the most, I mean, there's so much emotion in football. We know that. As long as they're not taunting, just let them have some fun. I mean, so anyhow, to get the 15-yard penalty and then the score on the next play, Dougherty to Andrighetto, I mean, it was just phenomenal. And, you know, it was a surreal night, something I'll never forget. Right up there with when I was covering Stanford football and they beat USC as the 41-point underdog. Yeah, that was a classic game. And I think Patrick will also said as much in your story today in the rankings, right, Evan?
Yep. Yeah, our new number one, the coach of our new number one team was there in the stands taking in the game and scouting his opponent for that season finale. That's going to be a very good one on November 6th between Serra and St. Francis. They've got a long way ahead of them before that game. We'll see if they're still number one and number two going into that game. But he mentioned, you know, it was just a classic high school football environment, something that we didn't get in the spring, possibly, you know, maybe the best environment we've seen at a high school football game this year. Darren, I saw photos of the whiteout that they had there. What was that like in person, seeing that and taking that in?
It was unbelievable. I knew it was going to be a big crowd when I had to park. It seemed like a mile away, and I got there at the start of the JV game. So it was like, I knew that was going to be a special atmosphere there, and it proved out. I mean, the crowd, the St. Francis side was jam-packed. I mean, if everybody was standing, had gone over to the pretty good-sized stands on the visiting side, I mean, De La Salle side had a good crowd, but it wasn't, you know, like those stands weren't jam-packed like the St. Francis side, but the atmosphere was what you want on a Friday night. I mean, the band, the students, the powder going up in the air, you know, and not to mention, you know, I knew the backstory of Matt Scherenberg, who we wrote about, and he's his story is on the front page of today's Mercury News and East Bay Times sports section. I've known Matt since he was in high school, and I talked to his brother yesterday, his older brother, who's the former defensive coordinator at Valley Christian, and he's the vice president of athletics there, Eric Scherenberg, and he admitted, and I think I agree, that the upset of that St. Francis beating Dominguez of Compton at the Oakland Coliseum in basketball, that was a surreal upset. No one in their right mind saw that coming. It was like, that was unbelievable. I think this one obviously was a huge upset. I don't even know if I would call it as big as that one, because the St. Francis team is really good. I mean, we know that they have size. They do have athletes. They you know, Justin Allenbaugh was right. They've got big guys at receiver. Yeah, they're physical. They got the big quarterback. It's a good team. It's a really good team. And that being said, and we'll segue a little bit into the WCal. I don't know that they're going to be undefeated when they get to November 6th. I'm interested to see the game Friday night at San Jose City College, where Bellarmine, which I would have to say is the surprise team of the fall so far at 2-0. Going up against Central Catholic, which is really good. And Lefty, you saw Central Catholic the other day. Bellarmine, in its first game under his new coach, Jalal Beachman, in the spring, was up 21-0 on the road at Central Catholic and ended up losing 28-21. So I'm expecting a terrific game Friday night. What do you think of Central Catholic?
Well, I think they're a good football team. Now, we've seen Bellarmine win two games very impressively. Based on what I've seen from Bellarmine so far, I would say that Bellarmine is the better team. And Central Catholic is very good, but Central Catholic had some good fortune in beating San Ramon Valley last week. I mean, there was one call that went against San Ramon that had a big impact on the game. There were two or three plays in that game that they went against San Ramon, and if that game had been played in Danville, there's no question in my mind that San Ramon would have won. I don't say that San Ramon was homered by the officials. They weren't. But I think it's one of those things, you take a long road trip on a Thursday night, you're playing in 100-degree heat. It works against the road team, and San Ramon lost by a touchdown. I think that Central Catholic is very good, but I'm not sure they're Bellarmine good.
All right. And I talked to Vitas Masica, our colleague who covered Bellarmine the first two games, covered them Friday night against San Leandro and 2 weeks ago against Menlo Atherton. And he says they're really good. He says, because I wasn't sure what kind of size Bellarmine had. He says they're pretty big, bigger than he thought they'd be. I don't know if they're St. Francis Serra big, but they've got playmakers and they've got some size. So Jalal obviously has that program headed in the right direction with a lot of Bellarmine people on his staff, just like what we see at St. Francis with, you know, the Matt Scherenbergs, who was such an emotional moment for him on Friday night, you know, after going through cancer treatment in the spring and late winter, to come back and to be part of that win over De La Salle was truly magical for him. We're going to get to the predictions real quick. I just wanted to touch with you guys real quick on the rankings. I know we ended up with De La Salle 4. Evan, tell us why you went with Pittsburgh at 1.
Well, look, I think the Pirates have proven themselves. They hung with Folsom 4.5. Folsom, I think, is one of the top teams in the entire state, not just the region, as we were just talking about beforehand. Are they establishing themselves as one of those true power programs? Mm-hmm. And then they really came out and just throttled Valley Christian. And I don't think that says a whole lot about the Warriors. They came out and had a lot of talent too. Jurian Dickey still caught for almost 180 yards, right? But Pittsburgh was largely able to shut them down, and that was a big question mark going into the season for them. Was their young secondary and the defense? And I think they proved themselves against a really talented Valley Christian offense, and that offense is unstoppable at times, really.
Pittsburgh, yeah. How much did this region miss by not having that Pittsburgh Serra game to open the season?
That would have answered so many questions, right? I mean, not only would it have been the premier game of the entire season, but it would have really set the baseline for how we would have judged these teams the entire way, based not only them but the opponents that they play. We would have known how to judge them, and now we just don't have those answers to those questions.
When I was doing my poll, we had St. Francis 8 in our rankings. I can't remember where I voted for them last week, but I put them 2 this week. I just had a hard time putting them at 1 because I couldn't get 49-7 out of my head, which was just a few months ago. Did you guys feel the same way?
Well, when I voted, I mean, first of all, the way I had voted the previous week was De La Salle was 1, Serra was 2, and Pittsburgh was 3. Okay, De La Salle lost, so obviously they had a fall. But Serra hasn't lost. So Serra, in my mind, becomes the #1 team. Then I put St. Francis 2. I mean, St. Francis pulled off up till now the upset of the year. They beat De La Salle. They're #2. De La Salle is #3 in my mind. And then Pittsburgh. I think Pitt was impressive against Folsom, but again, they weren't impressive in the second half. And I mean, I know, long bus ride, Folsom.
First game, third game is a huge difference in football. And I think even if that were Pittsburgh's second game, that game would have gone into the fourth quarter undecided.
I agree with that. But, my feeling also is if De La Salle and St. Francis had played in Concord, De La Salle would have won that game Friday night. So that was the way I looked at it. St. Francis deserves to be #2, but right now Serra has not lost. Why penalize Serra?
Yeah. Well, it's only another byproduct of losing that Pittsburgh-Serra game is that Serra has not had a challenging opponent.
No, that is.
You do look at that. Looking at half by half football, they were only leading 14-7 against Half Moon Bay last week, and that obviously expanded to 47-7 in the final. Patrick Walsh said they only had 3 possessions in the first half in a classic Half Moon Bay football game.
Well, I think one thing that, and I was thinking about it this morning. Patrick has got, and Serra, they've got a schedule. If they're only going to play 3 non-league games, you got to schedule 2.
Well, they scheduled Pittsburgh, and Half Moon Bay gave them a good first half a couple years ago in the playoffs. Remember, Half Moon Bay ate up the entire first quarter. Serra didn't have 1 snap in the first quarter. Their drive was
played so far,
like the most unbelievable drive I've ever seen. It was like 23 plays or something like that, and they chewed up the entire 12 minutes of the first quarter and scored a touchdown like on the first or second play of the second quarter.
Yeah, so, but Half Moon Bay is not they're not in the same league, on the same tier.
They're well coached, and for a quarter they can run that offense, and if they keep the ball control where they go 2-3 yards a play, it adds up. So anyhow, let's get to the predictions. Good conversation there about De La rankings and whatnot, but we got 15 games to pick. Evan, you're still in first place, but only by a game. You went 6-9 last week. Not sure what happened, but maybe you're going to bounce back. Lefty, you're bringing up the rear, but you're only 2 games out of first place, so it's all tight through 3 weeks. Lefty, you picked the 15 games we're choosing. We're going to start off with Deanza at Cardinal Newman. Deanza 1-1, Cardinal Newman 2-1. Cardinal Newman's loss was in the first game under the new coach to San Leandro, and they've come back to beat Vacaville and Vanden since then. I'm taking Cardinal Newman in this game. Who do you guys got?
I'm going to go with Cardinal Newman.
Yep, Cardinal Newman.
All right. The Almaden Valley Bowl, Leland at Pioneer. Look back through the Max Preps era. Pioneer is 8-7 against Leland since 2004. Leland has won the past 3. This should be a tight game. Pioneer's coming off the loss to Pally. I'm going Leland in this game. Callie King Jr. is going to get it done again.
Yeah.
Leland. So we're all going Leland. All right. Game 3 on the list.
Back and forth on that one, though.
What's that?
I went back and forth on that one.
Yeah, I did too. I went back and forth on a few of these, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see if we're all on the same page on them. Game 3, Liberty at Monta Vista. CJ Anderson has Monta Vista off to a 2-0 start. Liberty got the win over Campo Lindo last week, although it was really low scoring. I'm going Monta Vista to go to 3-0.
Yeah, I was surprised to see how close that Liberty Campo game was too. I'm going Monta Vista.
Yep.
I'm going to take Liberty. I think Liberty's got a better team than people think, and I think they're going to pull this one off.
All right. Marin Catholic at McClymonds. Both teams undefeated. Marin Catholic at 3-0. McClymonds at 2-0. Marin Catholic's wins over El Cerrito 6-0, Concord, and Casa Grande. Mack has beaten, was it Tamalpais and Deanza, I think is who they beat?
Yeah.
But anyhow, Mack is 2-0 in the last 5 years against Marin Catholic, and I think they're going to go to 3-0 playing on their home field, taking Mack.
Yeah, I'm going to take McClymonds too. I think they're going to be tough at home.
Yeah, a couple of good quarterbacks in this matchup, Ingracia and Dreon Paul, but Marin Catholic hasn't only allowed 1 touchdown in his first 2 games.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Interesting, but I do like McClymonds in this matchup.
All right. Game 5 on the list, Mount Diablo 2-1 at Dougherty Valley 2-0. Both teams would be probably in first place in the Mission Valley Athletic League, whatever division they would be in, because Dougherty Valley's beaten New York Memorial and Washington Fremont, and Mount Diablo has a win over American. I'm taking Dougherty Valley in this game. Lefty, who you got?
I'm going to go with the Red Devils of Mount Diablo. I think they're a pretty good team. I know they lost the 1 game at the start of the season, but I think this is a pretty good team.
Yeah, they haven't beaten any other team that's gotten a win this season. So I'm going to Dougherty Valley.
Okay. Game 6 on the list, James Logan at Heritage. James Logan is 0-3, but played relatively close against Monta Vista. It was only 25-14 and then lost to Tennyson by 4 points. Heritage 1-2 coming off a loss to Clovis East in the Honor Bowl. Heritage playing at home. Who do you got, Evan?
I like Heritage.
Lefty?
I'm going to go with Heritage at home.
It's a clean sweep. I'm going Heritage as well. Game 7, Palo Alto at Carlmont. Both teams are 1-2. Pally coming off the win over Pioneer. Carlmont beat El Camino and has losses to Terra Nova and San Mateo. This game is going to be played Thursday night, according to Max Preps. I'm taking Pally. Who you got, Lefty?
Yeah, I'll go with Palo Alto.
Yeah, Pally's had a really been tested this season. I like Pally.
This game is interesting. This was a tough one to pick. Both teams 3-0. Terra Nova at Menlo School, 2 o'clock on Saturday. Sergio Beltran's been out of his mind for Menlo. They're averaging 56 points per game. Terra Nova is allowing 10 points per game, and Terra Nova in the Max Preps era is 5-1 against Menlo School. I am taking Terra Nova. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Menlo School. I think Menlo's got a real good team this year.
I'm going Menlo too, but tell me, over under 4 touchdowns for Beltran.
Ooh, I'm going to say Terra Nova is going to play tough defense and is going to be under 4 touchdowns.
I say over.
Ooh.
Over.
I'm impressed with this Menlo team. I really like it.
We might need to send somebody at that game. That's a Saturday afternoon at 2:00 in beautiful Atherton. Let's see here. What would be another Atherton school, the Menlo's next door neighbor, Sacred Heart Prep, going to Mountain View. Mountain View ended up in our rankings. I don't think I ranked Mountain View. I'm curious who ranked Mountain View to get them 25, because they lost to Mitty, which is not having a good time this season. But Mountain View's in the rankings, and they're playing Sacred Heart Prep, which has a loss to SI close and a win over Sacred Heart Cathedral close. I'm taking Prep in this game. Who you guys got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Sacred Heart Prep, and I think it's going to be a close one, but yeah, Sacred Heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had Mountain View ranked in my poll, and I didn't have Sacred Heart Prep ranked in my poll.
There you go.
But I think these are two well-coached teams, but I'm going to think it's Mountain View in a close one.
Yep. And Mountain View is a well-coached team. Shelly Smith does a great job. The quarterback is a good player. His brother was the quarterback there before him. But I'm going to go Sacred Heart Prep. So we got 5 more games to go. Let's go real quickly. St. Mary's of Stockton at Bishop O'Dowd. O'Dowd 0-2, St. Mary's 1-2, but St. Mary's has a big win over SI in its last game. I'm taking St. Mary's to win this game fairly convincingly.
Yeah, O'Dowd's dealing with some big injuries between Matt Wyatt and Michael Dixon, and I'm taking St. Mary's too.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, make that 3 of us, St. Mary's also.
Okay, San Leandro at Campo. Kind of a tough one to pick because I don't think Campo's nearly as bad as that 49-0 loss to Aptos. But I'm taking San Leandro to bounce back to get the win over Campo.
I'm going to take Campo Lindo to win this game. I think it's going to be a real tough one, but I think Campo pulls it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going with Campo Lindo too.
There you go. Nice, guys. Game 12 on the list, Battle of Hayward. Tennyson 2-0 at Hayward 0-2. Hayward is 9-5 against wait, no, scratch that. Let's scratch that stat. That was that's a bad stat. So anyhow, Tennyson at Hayward. Tennyson has wins over James Logan and Mount Eden, and Hayward has losses to Mount Monte Vista and Freedom. I'm gonna take Tennyson.
I'm taking Tennyson too. I think I know what you were referring to. I think they're Hayward's 9-3 in the Max Prep Serra against Tennyson.
Okay. There you go.
Tennyson likes to prevail in the low scoring matchups. So we'll say if they keep it to in the 20s or the 30s, we'll take Tennyson. But I do think it's a down year for Hayward, and it's a good chance for Tennyson to get a win this year.
Yeah, I think it's a rebuilding year for Hayward. They really upgraded their schedule, but Tennyson has got a good football team this year. This is a pretty good football team that Tennyson has.
3 games left. Pittsburgh at Wilcox. Beginning of the season, I thought this was going to be a really, really good game. Still might be, but Wilcox has losses to San Benito and Valley Christian. And Pittsburgh, as we've discussed, has the loss to Folsom and the win over Valley Christian. Wilcox beat Leland last week. I'm taking Pittsburgh, even though it's on the road. Yeah,
I'm going to go with Pitt. I think the game may be a little closer than people think, but I still think Pitt wins.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have to slip up pretty seriously to lose, but I'm going with the Pirates.
Game 14 on the list, Central Catholic, 3-0. Wins over Merced, St. Mary's of Stockton at San Ramon Valley. At Bellarmine, 2-0, wins over Menlo, Atherton, and San Leandro. This game's at San Jose City College. As we mentioned earlier, these teams met back in the spring, and Bellarmine had a 21-point lead and lost and ended up losing 28-21. I think the Bells get revenge in this game, and I'm taking Bellarmine.
Yeah, I like Bellarmine in this game. Like I say, I saw Central Catholic last week. They are a very good team, but I think Bellarmine gets them this week.
Yeah, I like what we've seen from both these teams so far this year. I think I'm going to separate myself in the standings here, though, and go Central Catholic. Central
Catholic to pull off the – well, I don't even think – that's not even an upset. It would just be that's a 50-50 game. I actually think this is a 50-50 game, too. The last one on our list, Cathedral Catholic, 3-1 at De La Salle, 2-1 Friday night in Concord. You look at Cathedral Catholic, beat Torrey Pines. Torrey Pines' only loss. Beat Chaminade 50-17. Chaminade's only loss. Beat a Helix, really good program down in this area, down in San Diego, 52-0. Helix's only loss. And Cathedral Catholic's only loss is to Centennial Corona, the traditional power down in Southern California that everyone down there is saying is back, maybe not back to where it was when it was winning state titles, but it is loaded. And they hammered Cathedral Catholic. And obviously De La Salle, we know their story. Wins over St. Mary's of Stockton and Monterey Trail, and then the loss Friday night to St. Francis. I actually had to give this some thought. I think De La Salle bounces back, but I would not be shocked if Cathedral Catholic won.
Yeah, I'm going to pick De La Salle to win. I mean, this is not maybe as good a De La Salle team as in some of the past years, but it's up here, and I think De La Salle gets the best of Cathedral Catholic.
I'll be out in Concord Friday night, and I got to say, I don't like this pick. I do think De La Salle is going to be angry. I think they're going to want to bounce back, but I've been scouting up on Cathedral because I'm going to be covering this game. They've got the size in the trenches. They've got the speed outside. They've got a huge quarterback with a big arm. I think they're going to present problems. I think I'm going Cathedral.
You're laughing when you say that.
I know. Well, I don't think they're going to lose 4 straight, and I do think Folsom presents problems too. If they don't win today or this week, they're definitely beating St. Francis next week of Baltimore, or vice versa.
I think. Well, I don't want to make my Folsom pick yet, but I think that they will be ready for Folsom. I think they will be ready for Cathedral Catholic. But I'm with you, Evan. I mean, I'm picking De La Salle, but I'm with you. I mean, the size of this team and to beat Helix 52-0 is just eye-opening, and Chaminade 50-17, eye-opening.
It's going to be a great game with talent on the field. It's going to look like a game that's supposed to be played on Saturdays.
What? Yeah, it's crazy. Well, it's been a fun first month of the season, right? Started off poorly with the smoke, but it has really picked up.
And now it is smoking.
What do you think, Evan? I mean,
it's been fun. It's my first full season.
It's been good.
Area football.
Anyhow, check us out, mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com. Get a digital subscription. A lot of you have been. We're really happy about that. So keep that up to keep us going. Check out our coverage every day. Go 7 days a week, right, Evan? With content, fresh content every single day, including Sundays. So check us out. Scores, roundups, game stories, great photos by our staff. mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com. Follow us on Twitter. I am at Darren Saavedra. Evan, what's your Twitter handle?
Evan Weebeck.
There you go. Simple. Keep it simple. Lefty, yours is simple too, but it's not Mike.
No, it's at Leftwich.
At Leftwich. All right. We're going to wrap this up. I'm going to shut it down. Hold on.